Hi, I'm Lisa, and I got the amazing opportunity to go on a school trip to the United States of America. I went to Washington, D.C. and New York City from the 27th of March to the 3rd of April. Here's what happened. Day 1 consisted of me driving to the airport to meet up with the other kids and the 4 teachers that will be guiding us throughout the week: Mr. Lindhout, Mrs. Marks, Mrs. Poldevaart and Mr. Meijer. Inside the plane, I enjoyed the view on our 8-hour-long flight and experienced my first airport meal, played some poker and watched 2 movies. Okay, so after the plane landed, we got through security and then arrived at the hostel in Washington.
Okay, so this is our room. I'm gonna introduce you to the people I'm staying with. Introduce yourself, who are you?
I'm Amber.
Okay, Amber, how are you?
My ears hurt.
Oh. Who are you?
I'm Ella.
Ella, tell them about one fun fact about you.
You bring too much pressure on me.
Who are you?
I'm Kirsten.
Kirsten, what's your favorite pizza topping?
I love 4 cheese.
Okay, well that would be. So this is our room. I don't know, I can edit it out. Bye!
After dinner, which was a jumbo slice pizza, I chilled outside with my roommates and after that went to a bookshop where they sold very awesome second-hand books. I bought 2.
So it's day 2. I just woke up. I had like 6 hours of sleep.
First, I enjoyed a free cup of coffee from the hostel. And believe me, free coffee does taste better. Then I grabbed some breakfast at McDonald's. After that, we walked to the School Without Walls, which is a high school in Washington, D.C. Here, I received a tour from Caroline together with Rosalie, and we watched her orchestra class. Then we went to Chipotle, where, well, this happened.
I have no clue what the fuck I just got. It just happened.
It's like you were there and they talked like Mexican to each other and we were like, what the
I have no clue what's in here.
it's a surprise.
After eating our food, we went to the White House. I actually had to give a tour at the White House, so I don't have any material from it. But here's a group picture that we took. In the afternoon, I chilled outside in a park near the Capitol.
I'm with Laura, Babette, Iris, Rosalie, Didion, Sandrine, Annika, and Dagmar. And we're just chilling for a while. We've walked a really long while and I'm just really tired.
And walked into the Smithsonian National Museum of American History with Rose.
So we're in this random building that we found on our way to like this little adventure, and they have a lot of cool stuff. There's a guitar over there. This is so pretty. And that's Rosalie. Oh, great show. Hi. How are you doing?
What?
How are you doing?
I am doing really good. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Do you like America?
I love America.
Yes, me too.
We ended the day with dinner at Harriet's Family Restaurant.
Okay, hi. So today is day 3. It's Wednesday. We're gonna go do a lot of tours today. We're gonna visit a lot of memorials. But first, we're gonna get some breakfast. And that's really it.
After breakfast, we took the metro towards our next destination, Arlington Cemetery. Arlington Cemetery is a US military cemetery where the dead of the nation's conflicts have been buried. This starts from the American Civil War until the World Wars. One specific monument it has is the Tomb of the Unknown, which is guarded by a man with a gun who walks in a straight line. This is in fact symbolic. John F. Kennedy is also buried in the cemetery. After this impressive visit, we marched on towards the Lincoln Memorial. We had a brief break and then proceeded by going to the Vietnam Veterans Memorial, Korean War Veterans Memorial, the Martin Luther King Memorial, where we also got to experience the pretty cherry blossoms.
Trees are really pretty! Yay! Like you! Aww, that's so sweet!
Then we saw the World War II Memorial, and the Washington Monument.
Yay!
This finally concluded our tour. I then took the metro back to the restaurant where we were expected to report at for dinner. This restaurant is called Ben's Chili Bowl. They're famous for their chili hot dogs, and a lot of celebrities, including Obama, have eaten there. The owner of the place gave us a lengthy speech during our meal. Though long, it was very meaningful. In summary, he told us that 1. We should be confident. 2. There's a lot happening in the world and we should not take our education for granted. 3. Becoming successful means going through rough times and never giving up. And 4. Once you reach the top, you should help others in their goals and their lives. I also had a midnight cookie. And Michael too. And they're really good and they're warm and chewy and I love them. And yay.
Good morning world, I am walking down the street. It's day 4, today we're gonna go to the capital and we're going to go to a museum. I think it will be fun, I'm just gonna get some breakfast and then I'm gonna get going. I have breakfast.
Okay, so the museum I visited was the Natural History Museum. The building was really pretty. It had some Greek and Roman architecture. But I won't bore you with that. Instead, here's a picture of me at
The dino section! Dinosaurs!
which was one of our teacher's assignments. And here are some puns I made inside the museum. Touch that stone?
What stone?
Anyone. Just touch that one. Yeah, that one. Now you're a stoner. So, Dagmar, do you like it here?
No.
You don't want more horrors?
No.
When I got out of the museum, I found out that,
I've lost everyone, I don't know where they are.
luckily, I found you back, bastards, bastards, and visited the capital. Here we got a tour and saw a lot of pretty stuff. Then we went to McDonald's to get some rest.
McDonald's, and I have some chicken nuggets and an iced coffee. And with all these baguettes, how are you doing? Did you like the capital? Yes.
We got dinner at Tony Cheng's Mongolian restaurant. It was really tasty. On day 5, we got inside a bus to travel from Washington DC to New York City. It was a 5-hour-long drive and we only had one stop. On this stop, I got myself some fried chicken, which I enjoyed on the bus. Then finally, we made it to New York. Once we arrived in the YMCA Vanderbilt, we were put in the gym to wait and get appointed to our rooms. I had the pleasure of sharing my room with Amber.
So, this is...
Since we had some free time, we went outside to find some shops. Afterwards, we had dinner at Café R and watched an improvised musical called Rumpelteazer. I absolutely loved it. After the musical, we walked home through the cold yet beautiful streets of New York City. Day 6 started off with a coffee and a bagel, as one of course should in New York City. We then went on a boat tour along the Hudson River, with its highlight being the Statue of Liberty, which was actually a lot smaller than I expected it to be. We then took the subway towards Central Park, but before starting our assignment there, we had been given some time to get lunch. Since I was craving fries, I asked for some fries in a restaurant and took them to Dunkin' Donuts where my friends were at. Then it was time for a 3-hour-long Central Park assignment.
Okay, so we're in Central Park, and I'm with this group, Kirsten, and we're doing an assignment where we are in Central Park and we need to find certain spots for movies. Well, after this you're gonna see all the pictures that we made, so I hope you enjoy. 3, 2, 1.
After Central Park, we once again made our way to Café R, where we stuffed our plates with food. This was followed by a visit to the 86th floor of the Empire State Building, which had a breathtaking view.
Day is it today?
Sunday.
Thanks for your energy.
Day 7 was the day in which Mr. Lindau turned 35. Logically, the teachers and the students gave me a birthday card. On this sunny Sunday, we had a full schedule ahead of us filled with tours around the city. We started at Grand Central Terminal, where we took the metro towards Brooklyn. Here, we crossed the Brooklyn Bridge, which had an astonishing view. After crossing the bridge and fully profiting from the great picture light, we walked on to Ground Zero. Now, for those of you that are unfamiliar with this memorial, which is unlikely yet not impossible, it is basically the place where once was the World Trade Center, destroyed by terrorists on 9/11. Later we found ourselves in Little Italy in Chinatown. In the latter one, Ella and I got some Asian food for lunch. We then took a group picture in Washington Square Park and walked past the building that looks like a flat iron. Our final destination was the High Line, which is basically an elevated linear park that once was a railway. Now, as you might or might not be able to imagine, we walked quite a vast distance that day, which led to everyone feeling exhausted, especially considering the distance that we'd already walked on the previous days. Here's me asking my classmates how tired they were on a scale from 1 to 10.
Guys, how tired are you on a scale from 1 to 10?
Start here.
10.
10.
7.
10.
100. 11. Nah. 10. 11.
I'm actually pretty okay.
That's bullshit.
Like a 7. I'm not tired. I'm just...
Don't be a mean show.
And dinner was eaten in bread and butter. Good morning everyone, today is the last day in New York City in America, and that makes me really sad because I've had a really awesome week. So day 8 was built up in 3 parts. Part 1, the United Nations. We saw this place and Human Rights and Art Forum, and this specific room. Part 2 is eating lunch at Subway, getting a donut at Dunkin' Donuts and enjoying our free time, which I did by buying a pair of Levi's and going to the Richard Rogers Theatre, where I got a Hamilton playbill and had the biggest euphoria of the week. Part 3 is us traveling back home, first by bus, then by plane. At the airport we had to wait quite a long while, and thus we were expected to eat dinner at the airport. A slight problem for me was that I ran out of money, so I asked everyone for their change as a donation to my dinner, and then this happened.
I had coins in a. Oh my god, yeah, I had coins. Where we be at? Got a Guyanese coworker. Her brain
Oh my God!
works fast. I would have been sitting here.
You can donate this, right?
Yeah.
Can we donate it?
Yes. We're donating to cancer.
The class is doing great work. They're gonna be so happy when they find out that we put so much money into this.
Lastly, we flew back from New York City to Amsterdam. This is basically where our journey ended and where I'm gonna end this vlog. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, that would really make my day, and if you want to see more videos of me, you can subscribe to my channel by clicking the red subscribe button.